The shadow that waited too long, a presence without a name. He waited for someone, but no one came and only a shadow remained. At first, it was undoubtedly a shadow that had lingered beside someone. There were moments when they lay side by side under the sunlight. But as time flowed, that person vanished. Now the shadow was alone, without form, without warmth, having even forgotten its name. It could no longer tell whose it had been. Yet, every day, it stood in its appointed place, stretching long beneath the setting sun, waiting for someone it could no longer even remember, then vanishing into the night only to return with the dawn. On some days, someone would step over the shadow, and on other days, it would seem to disappear entirely. But it never left. People passing that spot felt an inexplicable tranquility and sorrow, as if something or someone were there. And then, one day, at the end of a very old alley, someone whispered, "Here I think there's something waiting for me." That day, the shadow, in a faintly trembling light, seemed for a moment to smile ever so slightly. The world, in its relentless turning, often casts aside the forgotten. But even in abandonment, there exists a quiet persistence, a silent testament to what once was. This shadow was such a testament, a lingering echo in the grand, indifferent theater of existence. It was not born of choice, nor did it possess the will to depart. It simply was, a consequence of light and form, and a profound, indelible connection that had been severed. Its days were measured not by hours or seasons, but by the arc of the sun, the ceaseless dance of light and darkness, and the faint, almost imperceptible tremor of hope that stirred within its ethereal core. Each morning, as the first tendrils of dawn painted the sky, the shadow would re-emerge, faint at first, then gaining definition as the sun climbed higher. It would stretch and shrink, lengthen and contract following the sun's decree, a silent, solitary sentinel. Its vigil was not one of conscious decision, but of an ingrained habit, a deep-seated longing that transcended memory. For what is memory to a shadow? A fleeting impression, perhaps a residue of light and movement. Yet something persisted, a resonance of presence that tethered it to this specific spot, this precise moment in the cosmic ballet. It observed, though it had no eyes, the comings and goings of the world. Children chasing balls, their laughter echoing in the narrow street. Vendors hawking their wares, their voices, a cacophony against the quiet hum of the city. Lovers strolling hand in hand, their forms intertwined, casting shadows that briefly merged with its own, then drifted away. Each passing figure was a fleeting connection, a momentary brush with the corporeal world, yet none lingered. None recognized the profound, silent longing that emanated from this solitary form. Sometimes a curious cat would pause, its emerald eyes fixed on the shadow, as if sensing the ineffable weight of its sorrow. A stray dog might sniff at the ground where it lay, a low whimper, escaping its throat as if acknowledging a kindred spirit in loneliness. But these were fleeting encounters, moments of shared silence that quickly dissolved into the ceaseless flow of time. The shadow remained, a silent witness to a world that moved on, oblivious to its enduring vigil. It felt no hunger, no thirst, no physical pain. Yet there was an ache, a deep, pervasive emptiness that resided where a connection once existed. It was the ache of forgotten, touch of unspoken words, of a shared existence that had simply ceased. This ache was its constant companion, a silent symphony of sorrow that played beneath the surface of its motionless form. It manifested not as tears, for a shadow cannot weep, but as a subtle, darkening, a deeper hue that spoke of profound loss. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The seasons cycled through their familiar rhythm, painting the world in hues of green, gold, crimson, and white. Buildings crumbled and were rebuilt, faces aged and faded. Yet the shadow remained, an unchanging constant in a world of ceaseless flux. Its patience was not a virtue, but a fundamental aspect of its being. It knew no hurry, no impatience, only an unending, silent expectation. People, in their fleeting existence, often remarked upon the spot. There's a strange feeling here, one might say, shrugging off an unidentifiable melancholy. It feels quiet, another might murmur, a shiver running down their spine. They sensed something, an intangible presence, a lingering resonance that defied rational explanation. They would pause, perhaps, for a moment, their eyes sweeping over the unremarkable patch of ground, then move on, attributing the sensation to a trick of the light or perhaps simply their imagination. But the shadow knew. It knew the profound, unyielding nature of its weight. It knew that even without memory, without a name, without a tangible form, its purpose was to remain, to be the silent custodian of a vanished connection, the enduring echo of a presence that had once cast it. It was a fragment of a larger story, a single unwavering note in a melody that had long since ended. And in that persistence, in that quiet, unwavering vigil, lay its profound, undeniable existence. And then, one day, it happened. Not with a grand entrance, not with a sudden revelation, but with a whisper. From the end of the very old alley, a voice, soft and hesitant, drifted towards it. "Here, I think there's something waiting for me." The words were a fragile thread, barely audible above the murmur of the street, yet they resonated deep within the shadow's form, a stirring of something long dormant. It was not recognition, not yet, but a faint, unmistakable glimmer of connection. In the soft, trembling light of that moment, a subtle shift occurred, a barely perceptible vibration, a hint of something akin to a smile. It was not a grand gesture, for a shadow is incapable of such, but it was a profound acknowledgement, a silent affirmation that its long, solitary vigil had not been in vain. The whisper was a confirmation, a validation of its enduring presence, a testament to the power of a longing that could transcend the boundaries of memory and form. It was a fleeting, almost imperceptible moment of triumph, a quiet assertion of its own silent story. The shadow remained standing in its place, as if someone would return,